where does mental anguish start to become pain? So a loved one is a big, I guess, mental anguish that a person goes through, and that one we're sort of describing as discomfort. At what point is pain only a physical thing in your mind, or is there periods where someone can mentally go through pain? And what would that look like? So if you ever lost a loved one, that's discomfort. What would a mental pain look like?
You ask me tough questions.
So the show's about.
Yeah. It's good. I just have to think. It takes a little bit more time because I got to think about it, think it through. Mental pain. I think it's, again, depending how damaging it is to you.
So what signal, I guess, okay, so maybe we can walk it through this way. How does someone determine whether they're in the zone of discomfort or zone of pain? What would you be starting to look at, particularly if it's a mental thing? Because a mental thing is a lot harder. Obviously, physically, you can see you're bleeding, or you've broken an arm, or you've done something physically to your body, and it's much easier to perceive that pain because you can see it tangibly, I guess. So whereas mental, it's a little bit tricky because how do you're just working off that emotional response to certain scenarios, and there's obviously a chemical reaction that happens in your body that triggers those emotions. So what is it that you're looking at from a mental point of view where it turns from discomfort to pain? Is there any signals?
Yeah, the way I try it, I think it's difficult in the moment to distinguish between discomfort and pain. And the way I do it, like I was saying before, is that I stop whatever I'm doing. Obviously, this is a bit more difficult if it's something mental to stop, but remove yourself from the stimulus that you think is causing you discomfort/pain. And dependent on how long it takes you to get back to that balance, to get back to that stasis, is whether it tells me whether you are in pain or discomfort, which is obviously is a difficult thing. You're not always going to be capable of stopping yourself. It's if you're trying to grow, you obviously have to be in that uncomfortable phase a lot longer in order to get the growth. So you don't want to be stopping every 5 seconds to say, oh, hang on, is this painful? But I think it's intuition that you build up over time. So you just have to do things, push yourself, and then you get a bit of a feel for, okay, now I'm going too far. For me, like I said, if I stop and I can't get back to stasis, back to balance, then that's a big issue. I get like when I am in a painful situation, I get like I start to shake and I can't uncontrollably, I can't stop it, even though it may not be that physically visible. I feel it in me, like I can't keep going. My mind keeps racing. I can't change focus. That's another good one, actually. If you try and focus on something, say you pick a spot on the wall and you just try and focus your eyes on that spot. And if you're unable to do that, if your mind's like jumping around, you can't just focus on that spot. Or breath is actually a pretty good one. Focus on your breathing. If you can't concentrate on your breathing, if you can't slow it down to a steady rhythm, then to me, that's like, okay, you're probably getting too far away from discomfort and going into pain. Does any of that, is that helpful at all?
Yeah, I think so. So in your mind, so the way you're describing it there, in my mind, it is that discomfort. So if I go back to losing a loved one, it seems that it's not you can't clearly answer whether it's discomfort or pain, because let me say it this way: if you lose a loved one and then you weren't able to get out of the grief process, is that a signal because you're not able to return back to the balanced state? Is that a signal that you're now experiencing pain?
I think it's a signal that it was something painful, because it is taking you a lot of time and effort to get over it, or to get back to, not to get over it, but to get past it, to get back to that stasis, that balance.
Yeah, so pain can, in your mind, pain is although you can have an instantaneous level of like pain if you lose a limb or something like that, it's immediate response. With the mental anguish, it's from your point of view, it's much easier to monitor the level of pain based on if you can return back to a balanced state, or if you can get some comfort and pleasure. And if you can't return back to that, you're either in the period of experiencing pain or you have gone through pain where you're unable to recover.
I think so. I think that's pretty well put.